Welcome to the Final Expense Sales Academy, the hub for mastering the art of final expense life insurance sales. If you're looking to become a pro in the final expense industry, you're in the right place. My name is Kyle Williams, and I'm your host to go through the ins and outs of the final expense business, from tips to tricks to industry insights. We cover everything you need to close deals with confidence, provide true value to your clients, and become a better insurance agent. So hit that subscribe button. Let's get started on elevating your sales game one video at a time. In this episode, we're going to talk about which carrier to write your business with. Now, when I'm gauging which carrier I want to write my business with, I'm looking at a couple of different things, and I'm just going to share a couple of those things that I've personally used and that hopefully you can use, so that way you can help pick which company to write for. So, in just final expense alone, I can think of over 30 different companies that I can write with off the top of my head. So, how do you decipher which company that you're able to write for? Now, naturally, we're going to think, well, whichever company has the best rate. Yes and no. There's a lot that goes into it. You do want a competitive company. You don't want to be the most expensive carrier in the market, but you want to be competitive. So here's some things that you may want to look for. So each agency that you go to has a preferred carrier or set of carriers that they use. So how do they determine which carrier that they want to use? Well, a lot of it's based on relationships that agency principal has with the carrier or carrier sales rep, whatever it may be. That goes a long ways. In the insurance industry, relationships go a long way. Another thing that could be there is the underwriting relationships. The ability to be able to get some policies issued that otherwise with other carriers they wouldn't, because they're able to live in the gray area and have a common sense stance to underwriting. That can help booster a company as far as a carrier that an agency wants to use. And lastly is just incentives that the agency gets. So that can help determine which companies the agency that you're going to work for or that you're looking at recommends. Now, how do I personally pick which carriers that I personally want to write for? Because if you're an independent agency, agent, broker, whatever you want to call yourself, you have the ability to be able to pick and choose which carrier you want to write for. So this is what I look for. Number one is I want to make sure that it is an easy-to-use company. I don't want a difficult company. I want it simple. So what are some things that I mean by ease of use for a carrier? I want the application process to be simple. I don't want a 30-minute application. I want to be able to get what I need in the e-app and get gone. So if I mess up too, I want to be able to make sure that I can get the error fixed easily. I don't want it a complicated matter. I want it done very simple, so then that way we can move on and get the business issued. And then lastly, with the carrier, I want to be able to easily communicate with them. Anytime I have a problem, I don't want to have to call in and sit on hold for over 30 minutes to try to get something done. If I can do a quick chat or a quick phone call, something very simple, those are some things that I mean by ease of use, what I look for in a carrier. So that's one thing that I weigh. Number two is quick commissions. I don't want to wait forever for my money. I mean, we've gone there, we've written the application. I don't want to wait 2 or 3 weeks, however long, to get paid. I want to get paid immediately, as quick as I can. Another thing that I look for is flexibility in underwriting. Not every case that you go to is the same, especially in final expense. You're running across people who are taking medications, and I want to be able to deal with a carrier that has common sense stance to underwriting. So what do I mean by that? There are certain medications that can be used for multiple different things. And if I come across that case and they're initially approving it for a modified or a graded plan, and I know that they're taking that medication for something else, I want to be able to talk to the underwriter or provide a statement or provide some kind of documentation, so that way we can get that policy issued the way that it should be. So that way we can get them an immediate plan, a day one coverage plan. And I want to be able to have the ability to be able to talk to the underwriter in some capacity, so then that way they can understand what we're going through. They trust our field underwriting in the field. And that way we can explain what's going on and hopefully get the case issued the way that we hope to. And the last thing I look for is incentives. Now, incentives are big. We work hard for what we do, so we should be able to get rewarded for that, for being a top producer. So two things that carriers do is One set will do trips, where they'll take you on an all-inclusive trip or take you to a destination. They'll fly you out there. They'll treat you right. So that's one set of incentives. And the other set of incentives is they'll do bonuses, whether it's quarterly or annually based on production. So those are two sets of incentives. Find an incentive that aligns with you. If you like trips, have the carrier that does trips weigh more heavily. If you would rather just have cash bonus, find a carrier that weighs more heavily in the cash bonus. Lastly, you don't need 10 or 15 different carriers to write for. Find 3 to 5 at most that fit within that group that you're looking for. You're probably going to place most of your business with 1 or 2 of them that closely align with what we laid out here. That is how I set up my carrier stack. I'm contracted with over 10, 15, 20 carriers, but to be honest with you, I really only use 3 to 5. And most of my business goes to 1 or 2 different carriers. It's just a lot more simple that way. When you understand the carriers, you can have a better understanding of them, and it just makes everything more simple. We don't need to make this more complicated than it needs to be. Go in there, 3 to 5 carriers, have your carriers outlined based off of the outlines that I laid out of, with ease of use, quick commissions, flexibility in underwriting, and incentives. Which one align with you the most? Use those, and hopefully that will help you pick your carriers. Hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any questions, comment below. Be sure to subscribe and catch the latest videos. If you got something valuable here, be sure to share it and comment below what was your favorite piece of content in this video. We'll see you in the next.